and I thought it couldn't work. And sure enough, we went a couple weeks with it, and I'll be darned, it worked.
Along these roads we roam, we find adventure through traveling, camping, boondocking, and exploring.
Hello everybody and welcome to Vlogcast episode number 47. My name is Russ.
And I'm Kerry.
And we are the roads we roam. We're a couple living full-time on our little guy Max. We do this vlog 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And on Saturdays we put out a Faces and Places video. Basically, we take the camera with us all week long and you get to see what we've seen through the eyes of that camera and also what we've been talking about this whole week through our daily vlogs. And then we have two opportunities where we get to talk live to you on YouTube Live. That's Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and again Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
So today, drum roll please, we're on the road again. We are at a state park just north of Daytona Beach.
Yeah, it's Tomica State Park.
I think that's how you say it. It's gorgeous.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Most of the lots are nice and level. They're sandy, kind of soft sand. And
each one that we've seen is very private. So you're flanked by two sides and the back.
Yeah, you're kind of
dense foliage.
You're backing into a cave of trees almost.
Speaking of backing in, you were a pro yesterday.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. The more you get it, the more you start to get better at it. You know what I've noticed here is it's not necessarily I know exactly what it's almost like it's a feel now. If I had to explain it, it would be very difficult for me to explain it, but I'm getting the feel down. And I'm also starting to learn what the truck and the trailer can do. Before I used to be really worried about, kind of getting that, I guess what you'd call a jackknife, but the way this single axle little guy Max is on that single axle, it's like a wheelbarrow, man. And the tongue is long enough where you're not getting into that position where you're pinching or hitting the side of your truck with your trailer.
That's what I was always afraid of.
Yeah, we've got so much room, so you can really, really kind of crank on it,
Well, I know it's been about, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, we did a lot of mooch docking where we didn't move for several weeks at a time. But it's one of those things that people told us. It's where the more you do it, the easier it'll get. It'll get easier.
Yeah.
But when you're going through that, man, it's
nerve-wracking. And it's not too bad when it's just you. Like if we were out in the middle of the desert doing something boondocking, but when you've got people waiting behind you, I think the thing to remember though is just everybody went through it. Nobody was born knowing how to back in. So I think if people are real with themselves, they're going to realize, you know what, I was right there one time too.
Well, that's why kudos to you. We pulled in and the streets are very narrow.
Yeah.
However, they have lots that can fit all different sizes. We saw Class A's and really little tiny ones. But it's a one-way, tiny strip to get to your campsite. And then when I saw that it was all enclosed with trees right at either end, I was sitting there thinking he's going to kill me for booking this side.
No, I wasn't too worried.
And you had people waiting. Like, they just pulled up, but you didn't take that long, and you didn't even notice that they were there.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just one of those things you get more comfortable with as you do. And I'm starting to get pretty darn comfortable with it.
And just as he gets comfortable, I'll start taking the wheel, and we'll have to go through it all over again.
Yeah,
but
I know.
That's my goal. I'd like to be able to just jump in there and do that as well. So,
yeah.
One of my goals. Well, after we came in last night, by the way, the drive from the western side of Florida to the east, we took Route 40, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So not a freeway or anything like that. Not a lot of traffic. Very easy drive. The roads were really great. So that's a win.
Yeah.
And we were able to match the speed limit posted because it was not a freeway.
Yeah, that's typically, we did a video a while back. I can't remember exactly what vlog it was, but we were talking about you can't trust Google's time, what's it called?
The estimation.
Yeah, time estimation, because, we're not doing the 70, 75, 80 miles an hour, but that I think it's pretty dead on when we're doing the 55, 60 mile an hour zones, which is what 40 was pretty much the whole way. So we were right on with what Google said we were going to be.
So we were a little proactive. We got in, the campsite was fairly level, so we were able to set up really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Russ grilled some steaks.
Yeah.
And then I jumped ahead. There were some things that I wanted to cook this week that had chicken in it. And I figured we'd save money and time and mess. I grabbed one of those whole roaster chickens for like $5 at Walmart, and I put it in the Instant Pot. Got that cooked, cooled.
So we're guessing about what, five meals out of that one chicken, right? 4 or 5 meals.
About 4.
Yeah, not a bad price for $5. You know, I wanted to go back real quick. We also towed all the way from Hernando to Tomoka Tomoka, I don't know. Somebody tell me how to say that. Without using our weight distribution bars. And the reason being is because all the research that I've done and read in it says 2 times you should use it. You know, one is if it's 50% of the weight of your vehicle. Another one is just lower it, put your vehicle, your trailer on your vehicle, and see the attitude. Now, it did change a little bit, you know, just it dropped the rear end just a tiny bit, but, you know, really it's nothing that I could visually perceive. You know, like if I was just looking at the Little Guy Max with the weight distribution bars on, and then I took them off and looked at them again, I wouldn't be able to say, okay, that one I know there's no weight distribution bar on it.
Well,
this
you
one
said it drove better.
I wouldn't say it drove better. It drove it. I felt more free, if that is anything. You know, I guess maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe it was a mental thing. It just felt a little bit freer. It did not feel. Never once did I get squirrely. Never once did I feel that I had issues. You know, maybe it wasn't. I wasn't hearing all that groaning and creaking and stuff that you hear when you have the weight distribution bars on, because you remember when we had that on, you hear that, you know, all that stuff. There was none of that.
You know, it goes back to what we were talking about on that one with the weight of your vehicle. So just because other people may not use the weight distribution hitches with their Little Guy Max, some other people would have to.
Yeah.
It depends on the vehicle you're towing with.
We did use the sway bar. I think that is a have to all the time.
So then this morning, we did our window shopping. We take the dogs for walks. One of our favorite things to do, especially at a new campground, is just take the dogs and look at all the different rigs and all the different
we walk
setups.
the campgrounds, and then you just look at, you know, everything from the rigs. Like we saw a couple really cool what are they called?
The hard top.
Yeah, the A-frame little guy, you know, little campers, and then we saw some big Class A's that were kind of cool. Some
we saw
B's.
one from Europe. I mean, it had to have been a European one.
It looked like an A, but in the size of a B almost, didn't it? You know, it was pretty cool. And you know, we not only do we like looking at rigs, but we like looking at people's rig setups. Like, oh, okay, they've got that tow vehicle. Look how this is what they do with their tow hitch when they're not using it. Oh, look at how they set up outside. You know, you can learn a lot just by walking around these camps.
Well, you know, it was funny yesterday when we drove in. Russ checked in at the ranger station. Mm-hmm. And as he's getting back into the truck, a gentleman drives by us, coming back into the campground, and he's driving the same vehicle we have. He has a black GMC Sierra, and he's like, "Hey, I like your truck."
Yeah, he said, "Nice truck," and I was like, "Yours too."
So we walked by his campsite this morning, and I mean, dead on.
Down to the little dent on the back of our bumper.
Yes, and he had one in the same spot.
Place, yeah. Before we started this was 3 years ago now. I was talking to a coworker on the phone. Probably wasn't paying as much attention as I could have. I was backing out of a gas station, and you know, at those islands, how they have those little concrete pillars there.
Yeah, they're there for people like you.
Yeah. I hit it.
So maybe he did the same
It's tiny.
thing.
You can't even see it.
Really. I can see it every time I look at it. But so we enjoyed doing.
Yeah, that was a good laugh.
And then we came back. Russ was setting up a little bit more of the campsite, and I started getting ready for breakfast,
Yep.
and he just doesn't even give me heads up and says, hey, I'm going to film you cooking breakfast.
Hey, this is real life here. This isn't, this isn't planned. This isn't, oh, let's get everything pretty and get perfect. No, this is real life.
Yeah.
Be yourself
I'm
on
like,
the
you
road.
need to let me know these things. I'm a woman. I need to set it up. I would have cooked something probably totally different to make it look.
It's real life. On that walk, too, we met a nice couple. Here, I think they live here in Florida now, but they're originally from New England area, and they have a little teardrop, tiny little teardrop, but they have a really nice setup with a tent on the outside, and he's done some really interesting things, like for the TV in there, he has a TV antenna, and he said, I didn't want to drill into my camper,
Right.
so he had these suction cups, these really heavy-duty suction cups that have little brackets, U-brackets, so they can hold the pole. I thought that was ingenious. And then he took a space blanket to kind of keep some of the heat in.
Oh, and those were magnets, too.
Yeah, and he had magnets to hold that on there. You saw something on the inside that I thought that you told me about.
So in those little tiny teardrop campers where it's just the bed and you crawl inside, you have the air conditioner units, not on all of them, but on a lot of them. And it's just going to blow straight into your face. And the woman I was talking with, she said, they didn't like that, so they did a really smart modification. They took what looks like, those wall-hanging file folder holders, and they took a clear one and they mounted it just in front of it, so when the cold air comes out, it diverts it up. And then because of the shape of the teardrop, it circulates the air, so they don't get it right in their face.
Yeah, there's some of the most brilliant inventions that we've seen are some of the most simplest things,
Well, there was that connection, the teardrop connection, and then they have a daughter named Kerry, and she spells her name the same way as I do, so...
Yep, and another one too is they lived in Ireland for a while, and our son is his fiance Jessica is from Northern Ireland. He was a military vet. Both you and I are military vets.
And she owns the same car as our daughter.
That's right. So yeah, there was a lot going on there.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you just meet so many great, interesting people.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to say hey to people.
If you are someone that wants to get out there and meet more people, but you don't know how to, get a dog.
Yeah.
Because you just walk. That's how we started the conversation with them. They saw the dogs, wanted to come over and say hello, and then we had a great conversation after. They're actually going to come by later because they're very curious about the little guy, Max.
Yeah, they've seen it before, and they've always wanted to see one in person, so this is their first opportunity to see one. So it'll be fun to show them, our unit.
Oh, and then one other last one, it was really funny. They stayed at the Savannah KOA.
That's right.
They were there not even a week before we were.
Yeah, small world. Yep. This is a small world out here.
So topic for the day today. I wanted to kind of talk about and give an update on condensation.
It's a big problem in the RV world. You hear about that a lot. So it's I think it's a good conversation to have.
Yep. And so I just wanted to talk about what we've done so far. Now, we have been in very humid, rainy areas.
Yep.
And when we first started, we had the issue where we could feel it on the walls. It really scared me. And then I read things where people were talking about mold under the beds and stuff like that.
That's what scared me, because I can remember sticking my hand in between the bed and the wall and it feeling damp.
Right.
And I was like, ew, that's not good.
So since we've been doing a couple of things, it's stopped.
Yeah.
And we've got it under control. Now, I'm not saying it's the be-all, end-all.
No.
And I would really like to put out there for anybody that has other suggestions to please comment below, because we're always looking for other things and to get information out there
and
to
not
people.
just us, but other people that watch our videos searching for, the topics that we're talking about. Man, the information that people have been sharing on our videos has been profound, not only for us, but for a lot of other people. I've seen a lot of side discussions going on that didn't involve us talking about that.
So we are very limited in space.
Yeah.
And we also want to limit the amount that we're dependent upon being plugged in, because we do want to boondock a lot, and maybe you don't want to do it. So if you have a bigger rig with the built-in generators and things, getting the big plug-in electric dehumidifiers, that's a great option. We could still do that, but I've run out of room to store gadgets. I've given up a lot of my kitchen gadgets just because of that.
Yeah.
So I had to look for options outside of that, and I was also cost conscious.
So before we go on to those options, let's first talk about probably the number one thing you can do that doesn't cost anything, that doesn't require you to buy anything, and that's vent.
Yeah, that was huge. So that was the final cherry on top. You jumped ahead of me on that one.
Yeah,
but it's true.
Yeah, exactly. I think because we're talking about things you can buy here. You know, I think we just cut to the chase and say that vent and running that fan will suck a lot of the moisture
and
out.
not just that. To crack a window open so you've got that airflow. So even on the colder nights, I don't know if everybody knows, but the windows here, you can get it where they lock in place. You just move the little latch into the grooves, and it opens it up just ever so little, but you can feel that air suction coming right through.
It's quite dynamic, the air movement in there. Just remember though that if there are bugs out, set your screen down because the bugs will come in underneath.
So then the other two options that I had, and this one I did it as an experiment. I picked it up at a dollar store, I think, the first time I got it, and I thought it couldn't work. And sure enough, we went a couple weeks with it, and I'll be darned, it worked. So, and you have all probably seen this somewhere, damp red. It's cheap, and I'll be darned, it works. All these get hard, and then they liquefy, and it turns into water.
Yeah, we've seen these things, you know.
We just bought this one yesterday.
With like a cup and a half of water below.
Yeah, mind-boggling to me. But these work great, and I've been able to tuck this in a couple little locations where they're out of sight, out of mind, and I just check on them from time to time.
So now we got that from Walmart, but I'm sure you can order them from Amazon as well.
And so just if you have the room to order them in bulk, because I noticed when we were at Walmart, they sold multi-packs where you could save. If you have room to store a bunch extra, that's the way to go because you're saving even more money. But if not, for less than $5, and this one has charcoal, so it helps with odors, and I got that because when I do cook inside, that it will absorb some of the smells.
So you just answered my question. I was wondering, I remembered us buying it, but I wasn't sure how much we spent. So it was right around $5.
Yep.
Yeah, not bad for what it does.
Right. Now the other one that I got, I have two of these, and these are called the Evadries, and it's got these little crystals right in here. Now right now they're all orange because it's all dry, but as it soaks up the moisture, they turn a dark blue, purplish color. What's great about these is these are reusable. All you do is plug them in. So when you are in an area with electricity, and you can plug them in, they dry out, and then you just set them back out again.
So it just kind of recharges the system by drying those little crystals out.
Exactly. And there's no sound. They're silent.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're reusable. And so that way, if I didn't get a chance to get the damp red, we at least have some others.
Do you use those in you know, both like that and the damp red at the same time?
Oh yeah, like I have the damp red out all the time.
Okay.
And then I will put these over in the bedroom area up in our little cubbies.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things that, and the main reason why I do that, the dogs can reach the bedroom area when they're up in bed with us, or, you know, just hanging out. I put the damp red in areas where are less accessible, so that way the dogs aren't encouraged to get into it and make trouble.
Yeah.
As they are wont to do.
Yeah, I've noticed since we've started, and we've been in some pretty damp areas of Florida. I mean, come on, it's damp here. Noticeable difference. I haven't felt. I continually stick my hand between that
to
check, and it hasn't felt wet or damp.
Well, when we were at Coleman Landing last week, was it?
Yeah.
We would wake up in the morning and everything was drenched. It looked like it had just finished raining when it was outside, and it was just the heavy, dense fog that was out there. Now we had the windows cracked open, and we had the air moving through, and nothing was damp inside.
Yeah.
So far for this size space, those things seem to be working.
Yep. And both of these are relatively cheap. I don't know. I know you bought that out by Amazon. Do you remember what you spent for the two that you got?
I believe I spent just under $30 for the two of them.
Yeah,
I think
maybe
it was like $28.
maybe we'll try to find a link for that. I don't know if we can on Amazon, but if you can, we'll put a link to it below.
Yeah, because I did buy those off of Amazon, and
Yep.
then the damn Prit I just got at the store. And I know we mentioned it briefly, but it still is mind-boggling to me that Walmart had a fairly good RV section if you need supplies.
Yeah. I think, you're right. I was kind of
Like on-the-go supplies. You pay maybe a little more.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked. You know, they had, sewer hoses. They had everything. Well, not everything, but they had a lot.
You know, it makes sense. So if you have a lot of people that are doing the overnights at Walmart, you can run in and get your shopping, and I think it's just a demand. I still think that Walmart needs to capitalize on that instead of having more places say, no, we can't have them. You know, make a designated area and encourage people to park.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have to add plugins or anything like that, but that's my 2 bits for the day.
All right, guys, so that's it. Thank you so much for your questions, your comments, your tips, your concerns. We use them in our Q&A Tuesdays. Sometimes we use them for a full show topic. So keep them coming to us. There's multiple ways to get a hold of us.
You can get a hold of us at theroadsweroam.com. We're also on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, and check out our podcasts. It's the audio version of any one of our vlogs.
Yep.
So you can check those out on iTunes and Spreaker.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.